Hello, guys, and welcome. 3:11 p.m. Eastern Time, and we here for the live broadcast to have a good conversation with Lynn Su, who is running for the Senate of the Florida. So many news tonight, but first of all, I have to say thank you to our moderator for our chat. It's Semen Parnas, Mikhailich, and Alois Berngert. Thank you, guys, to do everything to have our chat space very comfortable for our viewers. And so I just want to say you please support us through the Zelle and the PayPal, and also through the super chat, and get members of our channel. And please share this translation for us a big group of your just viewers. And Lynn is going to be soon with us. She have to restart her internet connections. Sometimes it happened, but she got so many news so far because the last Sunday she has a political education event, and so many people came. And the Malka Shahar also told about that it was beautiful and night to meet with the people who just thinking like we are. Republicans, and so the Lean has so many ideas how to control all the situation with the election. And also you can do it actually online. You can see everything on the special app. And today we're going to talk about this, so much in the new coming up. And also it's good when we meet together, guys, and we just can have a conversation with each other. Can we just think what's our next step is? Let's go quickly. Alice Williams, hello. Thank you to being with us. And also we wait Lynn Su. She's gonna be in a minute, guys. So the short, yes, and here she is. Hi, Lynn. The connection is good. Hi, can you hear me? Okay. We cannot hear you. Yeah, Lynn still has technical issues. I cannot hear you. Let me type her quickly. Okay. Or maybe we could just do like a chat in a chat. So she tried to reconnect it and back to us soon. We have a technical issues. So, but the first thing, I want to share some information what I already know about that application. Lynn has very good team, and that team support her with some ideas. So some technical team help her to collect all information online. You can even see how many Republicans in your area and how many Democrats in your area. You can see the name, you can put the name, and you can see the all information pop-ups about that person. Lynn try to connect it again. Okay, but in this case, no video coming up. Oh my god! So we got technical issues here. But let's hope in everything is great and Lynn connected and share the all information. But still, she is not connected. I continue have that information for you. So you can see online how many people vote, and you can see and you requested what the voter the spots needs to have additional volunteers and just eyewitnesses. How can you help? You can send a request what you're ready to be a volunteer through that applications. And so many Republicans, not only Sue, can see that and can accept that to you guys. So, okay, again, no connections. So maybe the Democrats comes to our broadcast and try to interrupt us, try to stop Lynn, and not try to allow to her to share that with us, guys. But it was Sunday. That was last Sunday, and Lynn tried to get it that education's meeting as much as it possible during the summertime. She got the barbecue. She got so many good atmosphere. because so many people came, and also they can discuss about the Republican situation, what they do, what they're planning to do, and also she telling everything what she thinking about the current situation and Republican world. So, but I think she has to share it with you guys and explain everything. That's what I got so far about that information. So try to connect her. Let's see, but she's not connected to us. Let's try to connect her, and while she connected, let's just wait for a couple minutes probably. I still with you. I put some music on. I wanna dance. Let's dance. It helps sometimes. I understand it's just only at 3 p.m. and no time to dance. But anyway, let's wait her and see what she's sharing with us. I just want to say what this is the live broadcast, and everything happened sometimes because it's that kind of the situation it is. Can you hear us, Lynn? Hi, hi. So you hear me? I see, right?
Yes.
Finally.
Oh my goodness. I'm so
That's
sorry.
yeah, yes, I see the Lynn Su is in a different way, but that's okay. Because sometimes shit happens. Be honest. Yeah, be honest.
I don't know. I heard there was a
Yeah.
storm up north of here. So I didn't know if it was affecting this, but I mean my internet has been crazy. So yeah, hi.
I think that's Democrats try to make some interruption to us, because for sure I share with our audience already some basic information about the new application coming up. You presented it for the last Sunday during your education meeting. It was actually amazing meeting, and the Malka and our broadcast share some little information about what was there.
Uh-huh.
And she mentioned of course, the first of all, she mentioned the barbecue was great, and so many people came, and you was great because you just share a lot of the Republican news and blah blah blah, everything what's going on in Aventura and Sunny Isles. But the first of all, I want to start with this amazing application who can help all Republicans for elections, especially you and some people who just Republicans won't got some information, or which is concentrated, and that application focused on the Republican election data. Who is Republican? You can see. You can put some name and see who is Republican, who is not, and some. Current situation about the elections, who needs volunteers, who want to be involved with the election process. So tell us a little bit more about that. Who help you with this? Tell us about your team and what's that application about.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, it was a really great event. It was a good turnout. We had a lot of people from our district. Hi, Alice. So we had a lot of people come in and offer so much help, and I am just so humbled by everybody's participation. So let me share it. So this app is actually readily available, but it's only available for nonpartisan races or if you're a Republican. So it's not available for Democrats. Sorry, if you're listening. And inside of that, what they do is they adjust all
How can
the
you
new
prove you are Republicans? You have to
so they
provide certain
actually
documentation. How it works from the beginning?
so basically they'll ask you if you are a registered Republican. So now before I started running for this race, this was a year and a half ago, I was still an NPA, which is a non-party affiliation, right? So I didn't register as any party because I wasn't, I wasn't, I didn't want to. Well, I mean, I think this is most of the people's sentiment, right? They
Mhm.
kind of want to hide behind non-party so that nobody is like going to say they're a Democrat or Republican, and
Or
obviously, like
independents,
being
right? What about
right.
independents? Independents have
So
access.
independents, you have the Green Party, you have Libertarian, that those are the independent parties. So those will be separated out.
Okay.
And then like there's this one group of people, which is NPA. That means like they have no party affiliation. And a lot of people kind of want to fall into that place because like they don't want to have any backlash between people who know about their registration, and they want to stay like, in the middle and not have to take any sides basically. So and if you are a Republican, oh my god, like god forbid, it's hated. It's like, oh, how could you be a Republican? But anyway, running for this seat, I had to choose, and I chose what was closest to my values, right? I believe in family. I believe in the government should stay out of our way. I believe in low taxes. I believe in personal responsibility. So all of that like actually fits my bill more than anything else. And that's why I chose Republican and to run in a for a Republican seat. So that's that. Okay.
So,
Now, this application is
yes.
actually only available to people who are candidates. So, if you are a nonpartisan candidate in a seat like a city commission or a county commission or a judge, like these are also available. It's called web elect. And if you are a partisan person, it's only available. It's a partisan seat, then it's only available for Republicans.
Okay, how that application can help you, for example, and what's the information you can find in this application? What's the focusing on? I know you can check out this is the person Republican or no Republican. I know some volunteers database there. What else?
Actually, not so much volunteer based, but we will find out who are the voters in the area, how
Oh,
many elections they have voted on, but we don't know who they voted for, right? Nobody, that's private information. How many times they voted is a record that you can search. You could find out who are the super voters, who are the ones that vote for primaries and vote in general elections, and also who votes for presidential versus gubernatorial, all that.
mhm.
So there's voter information, meaning like the quantitative aspect of it. And then, of course, like if you register to vote, like when did you register to vote, which party you decided to vote for, all of that database will be updated from the supervisor of elections.
So how that database can help you? You can just see the certain neighborhoods and see what's the neighborhoods most of voters for the vote the candidates. Tell me how it helps you.
Okay, so basically it helps us target, right? Like I need to really focus on my who are the Republican voters, especially because we have a primary coming, right? I have a primary opponent now, which is another Republican candidate. Now he is I need to target and make sure that all of my Republican friends know that I'm running. Right. So right now, if they go to the primary voting booth on August 23rd or any early voting in July, they will not in July. The registration ends in July,
Uh,
but
in
to vote,
August.
right, in August, there's early voting, and then the Republicans get to vote for their Republican candidate. And I want to make sure that like all of my Republican friends know that they have two options, not one. Right. So when they go in, they will know who I am and what I stand for. So that way I can target straight to all the Republicans and go say hi to them, knock on their door, or have a party, or have an event, or any condos, things like that that I can go into to go and have the people get to know me and who will be representing them. So that's pretty much the gist of it, that I target them directly.
So I saw in that application the map, and the
Mhm.
map with the some spots where the people have some comments events, and also some some spots with the people who you have to visit it, for example, right?
Mhm.
So it's some spots in the Sunny Isles, in the Aventura as well. Tell us a little bit more about upcoming events, and if you got that all events on the map, and
Mhm.
it helps you to concentrate with your schedule, or this is not about only schedule and on your just targeting, right, as you mentioned.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I wouldn't be wasting my time knocking on doors of Democrats who wouldn't care, who wouldn't care if I was going to run anyway, right? They already chose their candidate. So that's basically what it is. It's really just letting my Republican friends know that, like, hey, I am running and this is what I stand for. So basically that will save us time, and also not bother the Democrats, right? Because what if I accidentally run into some, there are some households that have two, like the wife is is a Republican, the husband's a
Well,
Democrat, or
that's very interesting situation, by the way. Yes. It depends who is home, wife or husband. Do you have that information in the application?
yeah, actually it doesn't show. Okay, ooh, we have a question from the audience.
Yes, okay. So the first of all, Alec Davidov has hi, good evening, and also he's
Hi.
asking you of your general questions, general in politics. I mean, not by Aventura, and why America does not give weapons to Ukraine. This is your, but that's also interesting opinion. Tell what, why do you think?
Mm, I think in this stage of the war, I don't see why America should back out, because, like, if they've already helped, they're putting in $40 billion. Uh, I think that if we're gonna invest $40 billion to have Ukraine lose the war, why donate? Why give 40 billion to begin with? It's
Right.
not a loan with interest, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So we're taking our taxpayer money to pay for that war. We might as well ensure that we do win it. So if it's
And we
in
have
my
no idea,
interest,
Lynn, how much money get to the delivery to Ukraine, how much stay here in a Democrat's pocket, by the way, and what's that money will be transferring for the election as well, of course, because the Democrats try to falsificate every process, and this election is not gonna be different. I think it's not gonna be different, unfortunately, because if from the beginning they tell we just do something and you should close your eyes because of the Donald Trump. We have to, kick off the Donald Trump from the White House. But this situation, nothing changed. There's still gonna be. We have to be afraid of that. First of all, let's back to election in Florida. You mentioned you have to go only for Republicans, family only for Republicans voters. But what about independents? What about that people who just not sure what they're gonna do with? And also, some people, including Elon Musk, in the past were Democrats, but now even Elon Musk say no Democrats anymore. I'm gonna vote for Republicans. What about that category of the people?
no, we're not disregarding them. This is very important. Actually, they are probably the most important in this race, right? Especially in my district, where we have more no party affiliates than we do have Democrats. Democrats are the second largest group, and Republicans are the third largest group. So, with that said, I think that I will definitely be reaching out to my non-party affiliates and to talk to them and see where they stand. I think they're people who choose non-party is usually about, I think they're more policy driven, more principle driven versus party driven. And I don't encourage anybody to be party driven. I myself am also principle driven. If there are certain Republican ideologies or legislation that is going to be passed that doesn't align with my principles, then I definitely won't support it. So, I mean, which is kudos to people who are non-party affiliates, but also at the same time, that means that you do not have a role inside of choosing who the Democrat or the Republican candidate is, because we are a closed state. You have to be registered in one of the other parties to choose your candidate that you believe in, to represent you inside of your principles. So if you're a Democrat, which I don't think anybody here listening is, but if you're a Democrat and there
Some
are
of them
two,
here, yeah, please be careful. They're watching us. And
on Facebook. Well, what I'm
okay,
saying is basically like, because Florida is a closed state, you have to be registered in that party to vote for your primary candidate, right? So there's going to be several people running. You get to choose. Same with the Republican side. So to have a say in who you are electing into office. Like, here's the normal mentality of most people, right? They think whoever gets elected doesn't matter to me anyway, right? Because like, he's not putting food on my table. He's not doing this and that. And then we thought that our current president is going to resolve all those problems. He's going to unite Americans. He's going to pay off student loans, and he's going to take care of us, right? And naturally, people want to be taken care of. Me too, right? Like, I mean, I'd like it when my husband opens the door to the car and takes care of me and all that. But the truth is, like, it's not the same in politics. It's not the same, and we see that, right? So inside of getting our student loans paid for, which is going to be like, I think the conversation now is 10,000, but we get distracted from all these shootings that are happening. So we don't know what he really stands on that one. But the truth is, he's going to take care of $10,000 while raising the gas prices, while doubling the gas
oh, that's
prices.
so patriotic to pay the much for the gas. Yes.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's patriotic, all right.
Yeah, you have to be honored to pay more for gas on the gas stations every time. So yes, if it's gonna be $50 or $100 for the gallon, you're gonna be most patriotic person in the United States in Joe
Mhm.
Biden opinion.
So with that said, let's not mention any names.
Okay. Let's say Sleepy Joe. Let's say Sleepy Joe. Yes.
Sleepy
He is
Joe.
more as known as a Sleepy Joe. Okay. Tell me a little bit more what happened last Sunday. So people came. What are you
Mhm.
talking about with them? What you sharing with them? We want to know.
Okay, so first I introduced myself, right? And a lot of people here may not know yet, but I'm a first generation American born Thai, right? My parents are from Thailand. They immigrated here for an opportunity. This is why this country is so valuable to me, because I have what I have today because of America. My parents came here, work, save up money, went to their country to build their own business, and it was all because of America. When my parents went bankrupt, I came back from Thailand to America because we couldn't afford to pay for school and or even have any supplementary support in any way. Um, it took it really took everything from us, and America gave us a second chance. So I really owe it everything to this country, and this is why I want to serve. Now, inside of that, there's also my passion for human trafficking, against human trafficking, not for it. But I just want to be clear. So basically, like, I've been involved in that. I have always wanted to do something around that in Thailand as well. And Thailand is huge inside of human trafficking. So I really wanted to advocate that. So I've been involved in a lot of nonprofits. And the reason why I decided to join is because I realized, like, none of the nonprofit efforts that we're putting in can make a big impact. The biggest impact has to be made in legislation. And a lot of people might think that politics doesn't matter, but you see how politics matters now in the past year, and how many months are we at now? Like a year and a half. In the
16
past year and a
months,
half.
16 months and counting
Yeah.
every day, because it changed
Hmm.
our country for, and I just thinking, what's going to be more in the next 2.5, almost, yeah, 2.5.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's
How
why
can we change?
well, this election is very important, right? We have a lot of well, a lot of Democrats are also not running for Congress up
Right.
in DC, right? A lot of them have decided to, hang their towel and like they're out.
They're thinking
So
they
there
can keep money because they now have a chance to win. But what if it's gonna be falsification? What, because it's the same process as the before. I mean, what's the guarantee? Nobody give any guarantees. It's not gonna be falsificated
well, okay, so
because
I
nothing
still
done.
think compared to a lot of other states, right? I think our legislative body has their head on pretty straight. So we, even though our elections may have some weirdness around it, right? There's like probably some ballot harvesting, probably a lot of things to do with mail-in ballots that got slipped through. For Florida, I think we're still in pretty good shape.
We have
And
police. We have a new law signed
yeah,
by
hmm
DeSantis.
DeSantis, right? So there's a lot of things that has been put in since the 2020 election. So I would say that if we are vigilant, right, we ourselves, we don't just go to the polls. I mean, we're going to watch. We're going to make sure that people before us, are showing their ID cards. You know what I mean? Like there has to be a group effort. It like nothing great can be accomplished by themselves, right? By yourself alone. So Governor DeSantis, just because he's sitting there in the office as our governor, doesn't mean that he doesn't need us. Like all of us are needed in this effort to keep everything in integrity. So that with that said, like I think that whatever it is that if you see something, say something, right? Like if you see ballots coming in from somebody else, like a mail-in ballot coming to your house, and it doesn't belong to you or your family, and you've lived there forever, right? Like let somebody know. Like reach out, get that news out, so that we can slowly clear all this mess up, that whatever mess that there is. And I assert that there are things in place to make sure that that there's integrity there. Now, with that said, it doesn't mean that just because you believe that this is not in integrity that you don't go out and vote. Because
Of
the
course,
most
that's what
important thing,
propaganda wants us. Just not
exactly.
to do anything. Just believe strongly. Nothing depends of our votes. Nothing depends
Mhm.
of us. We have to do nothing. That's the main propaganda, goal.
Absolutely. So I think the most important thing is that you go out and vote. Make sure that nobody's voted before you, or make sure that nobody's going to vote after you with anything else, right? So if you have the right to vote, register today and get out to vote, because it's so important. Like we have to exercise that right. Like Elon Musk has one vote like you do.
Yes, everybody one vote. So,
Mhm.
Lynn, tell me, what most people came for last Sunday event ask you. What's more important things they are thinking about? What they ask you?
Actually, everybody was very, very readily and available because they are tired of these, you
Situation
know,
itself?
yeah, exactly. The situation, whether it be like our economy, the inflation, gas price, I mean, there are some things that state legislators can do. There are some things that state legislators cannot do. So basically, whatever it is that I could cause, I was sharing with them on the different platforms that I stand for inside of our district, like how I really want to put safety first. I want to support our police, right? I want to make sure that our beaches are conserved. Like we are living in a place that's not falling apart. We have our HOAs and our condo dwellers like protected. We also have make sure that everybody's safe in their dwelling. There is also like school choice is available, right? We're going to do these advocating for education savings accounts so that you can actually have like some kind of tax-free money saved up for your children to go to school. So, and you get to choose what kind of school suits your children. If you are of, a Jewish background and you want your kid to go to a Jewish school, then you can. If you're Catholic, you want your children to go to a Catholic school. I mean, like, I wish there was a Buddhist school, but I mean, whatever school you choose that you want your children to go to, that's available to you, and that money follows your child so that you're not having to take out money from yourself, but still the government or the state that is funding part of the children's education in K through 12 is attached to your child. So that's something that I really want to advocate for. I also want to put in trade schools. Like this is a big passion of mine because I'm so into businesses, right? I love business. I think free market is the best thing that happened since sliced bread. And it actually evolved naturally. Like the free market is something that is inherent in all of us. Like we love to make and keep what we earn. So with that said, I think that, I think if we want to attract more business to Florida, we don't leak the brains that we have educated and trained in this state to go elsewhere. We need to have industries being planted in Florida. So to have that being planted, we need to have a good workforce to support it. So if we have a good workforce to support that, right? And that comes from trade schools. Like not everything needs a college education, and I don't think it's cool anymore to be in debt. So, it's really cool to have a bachelor's degree. It's not cool when you're like, $50,000, $70,000 in debt. I think it's cooler
And you
to,
have to pay this debt, by the
yes,
way.
yeah. And
That's
I
why
mean,
prices for this is also, very higher. When you go to the lawyer or some, specialist, the service is very high. You have to pay, in this case, also for the loan,
oh
for
yeah,
his loan or her.
absolutely, right? And the truth is, like, we know that student loan forgiveness is going to be very tough because you're going to have a lot of not just legislators that are going to vote against it, but you're going to have a lot of backlash with taxpayers because the people who worked hard to pay off their loans, they're not going to be happy about other people getting free money unless they get the free money too, right? So if Biden decides to give $10,000, he should pay reparations to people who had already paid off their student loans and pay them $10,000. Like, how
Do you
crazy would
think it's
that
gonna
be?
happen? Do you
I
think
don't think
this?
so.
Yes,
I don't think so.
absolutely.
That's why I kind of went quiet, right? I mean, if they're trying to do something and they're trying to advocate for that, now behind the scenes, we don't know what's going to happen. But the whole point is that I think like if you treat everything with responsibility and you think if I want a higher education, there's a purpose and and it's a worthwhile return on your investment, right? Then you should go to college. But if you think that this college degree is not going to make you any substantial income, I mean, like there's various different things that I just don't see, like dance theories or whatever it is, right? I mean, like there's a load of things that may not make a difference or very difficult to find jobs. Like I remember when,
Unfortunately, yeah. And now it's
yeah,
more and more difficult because so many, first of all, illegal immigrants. And so the huge company hire them, and it's
mhm.
okay. And it's okay when it's huge company. That's not okay if it's a middle or small company. So you probably go to the jail. But why it's possible when the huge company can hire the immigrants and everything looks very good? Seriously, it's a big problem even here in Florida.
Yeah, absolutely. This is something that it's an ongoing thing, right? We've never been able to take control of it and move it along in such a way that actually is not hurting taxpayers or is not shrinking the size of government. So
I think first of all we have decided what our taxes is going to be spent for direction, and we have to ask our government first of all the local government and second of all federal government what the things, what's the project you have to spend our money. Please, we have to control. What do you think about that modern political opinions? What the citizens can control our taxes? Is it even possible, or that's illusion?
Um, it is an elected representative, right? Government. So that means that like a group of people elect one person to make decisions for them, standing inside of whatever principles they're saying. Like right now, I'm asking for your vote, right? What I say is like definitely fiscal responsibility, small government, all that. These are what I stand for. And anything that falls in those principles, I vote yes. And anything that falls outside of that, I vote no, right? And anything that protects the people that they cannot protect themselves. So, for example, like laws, like different laws that are governing our safety. So with that said, like I'm saying that like for us to choose how our money is going to be spent, I mean, I wish on my IRS tax form I can check box like who I want to pay or who I don't want to pay, right? I live in this district. I do not want to pay Debbie Wasserman Schultz, for example. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, like I could just say like, no, I'm not paying her salary this year from my tax money, like earmark it for not that. But the truth of the matter is like you can't do that because like the government takes the whole money down in a pot and then they allocate it and they budget it and then they get loans for it, they pay for interest. I mean, most of our money is also being our tax money is being paid to sustain the loan the tremendous deficit that we have, right? It's to sustain that and pay the interest rate on that. I mean, of course there's other spending and that's all inside of this now. So I think it's not going to be easy in the reality of it all. The thing is, we really get to revamp like what government really should look like, right? I think that a lot of times the government gets in the way of gets in our way. I mean, as a small business owner, with all these with a lot of the issues that we deal with inside of regulation, inside of taxes, all of this stuff actually has a negative effect, and it's all been created by the government, whether
Mhm.
it be
Yeah.
legislators or bureaucrats, right? Like just as a purpose of like when they want to enforce mass mandates, right? They had the I forgot the OSHA mandate that, and that's
OSHA, yeah.
right,
Mhm.
had OSHA mandate that because the government should not have the right to do that, but inside of safety, right, then they could do it. So, I mean, that was completely unconstitutional, and that's just using bureaucrats to do the dirty work.
And also good
Uh,
explanation because of safety. Because of safety, by the way, I don't know if you watch Fox News, Ted Cruz yesterday, but he is sharing that what Chuck Schumer stopped his law project for the school safety because of the tragedy in Texas, right? And so they refuse it, but they force a domestic terrorism law instead of the protection of our schools. So what does that mean for the Florida? We know exactly because if we are Republicans here, we can, be all in one moment we can turn on in a domestic terrorist because we are Republicans. Because yes, well,
I thought we already are.
yeah, we already are, but this is not like supported by law. But imagine if it's gonna be supported by law, what's
Oh,
gonna be? I think that the things can change in the minutes when Democrats got that law signed by Joe Biden. What do you think about that? Do you afraid? Do you think that all Republicans in Florida, in our districts, in Sunny Isles and Aventura, should be afraid of that? Should we take attention to this tendency? And again, what do you think about the safety of the Sunny Isles and Aventura schools, especially after that? shooting in Texas. And what do you think in general about that situation and against domestic terrorism?
Okay, so first of all, like in terms of safety in schools, I really do think that like nobody should be disregarded if they are suspicious of possible, you know, mental illnesses or instability in terms of like their mental state. A lot of these cases of mass shooting could have been avoided if we weren't being so, I use the word kidmitten with these people who are mentally unstable,
Okay.
right? And like here's where I ask like social media to really step in versus like stepping in to censor people's free speech. But when they start talking about like death threats, talking about killing people, like I heard that, for example, the shooting in Texas, this guy actually shot his grandmother in the face and then said, "I'm going for a school next," right? Um, like these things are things that should be alerted, not censored, but alerted to officials that this is going on. But now, with that said, like I think that a lot of things are private. I believe in privacy, so everything gets to be run through, you know, uh, what is it like? Public safety entities is not like necessarily like the best thing, but at least it should send an alert to somebody. If we avoid these things from the beginning, from the source of it, it wouldn't happen that there were 18 people, 18 little kids or 19 little kids shot,
19,
two
yes.
adults, right?
Yes. And
So
14, it was injured.
what's that?
And 14 people in the hospital in different conditions.
Oh, okay, yeah, and so like with that said, like I think there's this is absolutely something that has to be vigilant on the part of adults. Adults in the room, right? The adults in the room are like the teachers, the school counselors, you know what I mean. There has to be like a little bit more of a structure inside of how these teachers are monitoring. They're talking to teachers. Teachers are reporting like there's unstable children or youth or teenagers, and also like I would say that the rise in crime that had happened in the past 2 years, I think we can, take a part of that and blame COVID for the lockdown or blame Fauci for the lockdown. But I thought I was going
And
to
thanks
mention names.
everyone,
Okay,
everyone,
so
yes, including Sleepy Joe, if you not mention the names.
yeah. Yes. So the Lord, healthcare, right, so had told us to lock down. Now we have decided to lock down, and that actually caused a lot of issues with people in mental health. There's a massive drug overdose, drug usage. I mean, there's so many of these things that people do behind closed doors when they're not out socializing and doing things. So with that said, like I think that this is actually preventable. It has nothing to do with guns, right? A lot of
It,
people are talking about guns and like,
it's
oh
not a
no, guns
first
are the bad
reason,
thing.
absolutely. What about illegal immigration? What about, the race criminal, and especially in democratic states? I wanna tell you something. What the Democratic candidate for former Congressman Beto O'Rourke said. He's just accused Greg Abbott in this.
Hmm.
Because the governor of the state of Texas, the most powerful man in the state, chose to do nothing. He went to Santa Flora High School after kids were killing in their classroom, told the parents he would do something. He did nothing. He came to my town in El Paso after 23 people were slaughtered, and he said he was doing something, but he did nothing. In fact, the only thing he did was make it easier to buy a gun. The only thing he did was make it easier to carry a gun in public, and bragger about the fact that there would be background checks, no training, no waiting whatsoever. He talked about that this was evil. The only thing he is what it concentrated to be with people on his state, not protect them. He says this was unpredictable. It was totally predictable. And I predict that this will continue to happen when you continue to have a governor who will not stand up for the people of Texas. he said. He's running for the Texas
Governor. Yeah.
governor as well. Yes. What about his words?
Oh gosh. The minute you said Beto O'Rourke, I'm already zoning out. So, but no, I heard everything you said. I just think that like it's so easy to pinpoint about what someone did wrong, right?
Yes.
And I have not heard anything about him providing solutions. And I mean not just temporary gains or temporary solutions to long-term problems. And this is the problem that we have in our government, because everybody wants to be reelected, right? So everybody wants to have a show of what they can support. So they only do whatever it is that's the solution right now, so that you can vote for them again, and they can solve another, they could put another Band-Aid on top of another Band-Aid on top of another Band-Aid. And this is the thing, like I have not heard anything generative inside of what Beto O'Rourke had said that has to say that that how is he going to resolve this issue? So he's just saying, oh yeah, you're making guns. Like those two things are completely different issues, right? Making guns readily available and also providing security. These are two separate issues. Like, how about we have armed guards inside of schools? Allocate a budget for schools to have armed guards in there. Make sure that the doors are closed and not the back door is unlocked and having people come in the back door. Like there's so many different things inside of the analysis of this shooting and this issue. It started from the guy was never identified and never had any mark on him about that he may potentially be causing something like this.
Yeah.
If he's able to shoot his family member, like, and not to mention, I think his father was convicted in some way, that he's not allowed to be carrying a gun. So that's why he's kind of hands off about his son owning a gun at 18 years old. And he said he had no idea about it. So, I mean, there's like so many different moving parts inside of that, but like, is it easily avoidable? Yes. Did Beto O'Rourke provide any solutions? I don't hear anything, right? I just hear like, this is not good. This is not good. This is not good. Yeah, you can say that all day long. What are you doing about it? Like taking everybody's guns away? That's his solution, right? No, back when he was running for president.
Legal guns away, but they don't care about illegal guns, which is,
Exactly.
a lot of them, a lot. Plus criminals. The Democrats actually opened our border, and so many illegal immigrants came, including criminals. And so
did Beto O'Rourke talk about the illegal immigrants? So here's
nothing.
Like
Absolutely.
Constitutional carry is available in Maine. We have not yet heard. I have not yet heard. Let's put it that way. I have not yet heard of mass shootings from Maine being able to open carry. What's the difference between Texas and Maine? Maine is not bordering Mexico with tons and millions of immigrants coming in. And I'm not blaming immigrants, right? I'm saying that that's one difference. There may be other differences that we haven't expected. But before people pass a judgment, they have to compare apples to apples, right? There hasn't been, with the whole massive gun control issue, crime hasn't changed. And if they look at the statistics carefully, like that has not been an effect on crime. Because whether it's legal, it's an issue of legal guns versus illegal guns. And if they want to penalize people who are actually following the law, or law-abiding citizens who want to protect themselves, and we're trying to put a ban on that, I don't think people are going to be happy.
That's stupid.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And here's the
Who's
other thing.
Who's going to protect the Americans?
No kidding, right? No, I mean, like we have had so many examples about like countries where guns have been taken away from the citizens. Look at Venezuela. The first thing they did was take away the guns. No, actually, the first thing they did was pay everybody with oil money, right? So nobody's working. The second thing is they take away your guns, and then they take over the country. So this is really, if you look at this, this is your last defense for freedom, right? If they take away our guns, they could take away a lot of things from that point on. It's a slippery slope. So what I was going to say to that was that like there's our freedom is at stake here. And I lost my train of thought. I was gonna say something to you, and it'll come back to me.
A couple words about Beto O'Rourke. I think he is like have to go to the book of the genius, because how many times he lost election? Do you remember how many times? I think a lot. And
A lot.
every time he raised a lot of money from the Democrats. And I think he's just, the very rich person in a state, Texas at least, or maybe in the country. So maybe.
I think it's one thing I have to commend Beto O'Rourke, right? I think he speaks to a certain population and has them buy in on that because he's talking about things that they like. He doesn't really have principles that he's standing inside of. So he would appease whatever it is that people want to hear. He'll say it, right? Before, when he was running in 2020, he was saying that he wants to take everybody's guns away, right? Now it's like, okay, we're only going to talk about legal guns or whatever it is that he's doing. So it changes. And like when we have people who are elected and they can change on a whim, how do you know what is going to influence them or not influence them going into the future? So I would really encourage everyone to be principle based. What is that person's principle? What are they standing in? Are they making exceptions for it? I mean, there's a congressman I really like. Anytime that has to do with spending, he would say no. Like it doesn't matter what the cause is. He's just going to say no to any kind of spending because he doesn't believe in spending. And I really like that because it's like at least you're clear on what that person stands for. You don't have to agree with me. I think if you have your own principles and you stand inside those principles and we can talk about what it is that we can create separately that will actually resolve an issue, that would be perfect. Because like we cannot expect everybody to agree with us. And if your politician agrees with everything you say, that is a bad sign, right? Because that means they're not actually looking for your best interest, but what is their interest? That's another thing to consider.
I think the worst thing came from the radical left behind the mask of the Democrats. They just try to get out from us alternative. I mean, I'm okay, as you said, if you use an electric car or if you're not eating meat or if you do something, but do it. Not force me to do that. Left in my choice. The choice is mine. I have to, we in a free country still. And so not force me. But Democrats try to get away alternative. And my choice, they give me, no, you have to do something. You have to use electric car. You have to not eat meat. You have to think about the Green Deal. You have to, and we have a certain time. We have a rush. Seriously, they don't want to wait till the 2030. They want to do it in these
Wow.
2 years, and they don't care about the election because they're prepared how to falsificate it. The only one thing that stop all this. The politician process, because if the politicians wants to be re-elected, they have to do something. If you don't care about election, what does it mean? They prepare to how to falsificate the elections. This is my opinion. What do you think?
I think this is a time for all of our, America first, country loving, constitutional loving representatives to stand up all over the country, right? I think it's time for them to revamp and make sure that like anything that is unconstitutional that is being done in every state, like Pennsylvania has discovered something, right? So
Yes.
that it's up to the lawmakers really. And it's up to you to actually like get your lawmakers involved, right? Like, hey, inspect this. We don't trust the election system. Like, speak up and like share that with them and have them do something about it. Or better yet, there are people, and this is something that is not in your purview, but if you can write up a legislation that you think is like good and your lawmaker is interested in whatever topic or whatever issue that you want to advocate for, they can sponsor the bill with you actually creating it. So, I mean, this is what's great about America, right? Like, I would never be able to do that when I was in Thailand. So, if there's something that you think that should not happen in the state, like, and you think you can get a lawmaker supporting you and get behind you, like, that will also work. And they have to read so many different bills, right, to even start creating something, or they'd have to, like, have some time to do that. If this is an issue that is important to you, you can also support a bill, add a clause, put in whatever it is that's your concern. Like, right now, they're discovering that all the things that they have done in the past election, it's actually, some of those things are unconstitutional, right?
Yes.
And you get to be alert and be aware of that. My key is, I think, like, we get to be responsible for our lives. If we don't like something, we can speak up. And this is a free country. It still is free. And you should use that. You should use that right and really speak up against it, right? So, with that said, like, that's where my stand is to take matters into your own hands, be cause in the matter of what's going to happen to this country. Don't just sit by and, like, be the victim of it, right? And this is what Democrats will want you to. I shouldn't say that, but there are people that want you. There are
You
people
correct
that want you.
yourself. You're a real politician. I should say this. Okay, let me think. Okay, this is the correct words.
I know, right?
Okay, Lynn,
No, there
I wanna.
are lawmakers that want you to feel victimized, right? That you
Yes,
can't do anything about it, and I have to protect you, but that's not
yeah.
true. So, ultimately, we are responsible for our lives, and we are responsible how this government goes. We're responsible for who we elect. I mean, we're responsible for all of it.
Who will elect? I want to just a couple things. I just want to know your opinion about the situation. Let's move to the Georgia, right? I want to see you. I want to show you something. This is Georgia primary election result. We remember.
Mhm.
The Donald Trump endorsed David Perdue. See that
Mhm.
position number two. Brian Kemp, the couple days ago, was supported by Mike Pence. So there is two actually ways. First of all, the Democrats know what Kemp has a more chance to win. Just put from the closet Mike Pence and see here is the alternative. Mike Pence endorsement Brian Kemp, and Mike Pence has more Republican support than even Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is nothing and Donald Trump is too radical, and Mike Pence is a good alternative for the Republicans to divide Republicans as well. Three Republicans win: Herschel Walker, Brian Kemp, Marjorie Taylor Greene, of course. Yes, and see, this is the Democrats, Raphael Warnock, and also there is one opinion uh, from the politicians. Brian Kemp gonna be against on this governor election Stacey Abrams, and Stacey Abrams gonna win. And after that, Stacey Abrams probably go to the president election 2024. Uh, what do you think about Mike Pence, Donald Trump, and possible win of the Stacey Abrams as a governor, and probably as a next candidate for the presidential election 2024?
I'm like, is that a real question, Nick? Or
No, just personal opinion. You can say it's bullshit. I don't believe it. But
listen, I think I was
But
having a
why you
conversation.
asking you about Georgia? Because it's a similar situation, and you go through the election as well, and you can see how it works. Because it's everywhere pretty much the same way. The
Mhm.
Georgia probably it's the same scenario is gonna be in a different state. Who knows?
Yeah.
Georgia is very
Um,
important. This is the swing state.
yeah, it is. Absolutely. Yeah.
And
Um,
Stacey Abrams, I'm sorry, she were the counted of the November 2020. By the way, and she
she's
probably
what?
got. She tried to help right counting voters in Georgia state back to November 2020.
Mhm.
Probably this is her, benefits, the governor of the state of Georgia.
Well, I know she's had her eye on that, and even though she wasn't elected, she already thought she's a she is the rightful governor. Um, so let me share my opinion. Just I think let's start from Stacey Abrams, right? Another case of what I see is coming out shouting racist with no real solution. I haven't heard her say anything about her advocating for Black people and what policy she's going to put in to empower her people. Um, I'm not saying that the other white male candidates are going to have done anything different, right? But what I'm saying is that like there's a lot of screaming and shouting about this, and it's very much Beto O'Rourke type, you know, like coming out and pointing what's bad, what's bad, what's bad, what's bad, and then like, but what is good, and people don't realize that there is no solution to all of their criticisms. So for me, I don't know, Stacey Abrams. What sticks in my mind when I think of her is like a porn novel writer, right? Because like she writes these novels, and I was kind of like amazed, like oh my gosh, like I would have never guessed that she had that in her. But that's how I see it. I don't see her as. I think that she's a very bold lady. She has good work ethics, right? But in terms of policies and her beliefs and what she stands behind, and also anybody who just does the first thing that they do is to scream racism, like I think is this is nonsensical, right? It's a waste of time. Like
Yeah.
we really do not have systematic racism in this country. Otherwise, I wouldn't be sitting here. Me as a little Asian girl here will not be sitting here running for office or even talking here about whatever it is that I believe in. I
Yeah.
would be put back in the kitchen somewhere cooking Thai food and like, never seeing the light of day, being paid like $3 an hour. That's racism. Right? We're not having the life that we have, owning a property, living in, one of the greatest state here. That doesn't happen in a systematically racist country, right? There's plenty of those, and they're not here, not here in this area, not within the next like 3,000 miles square like radius. So with that said, I was going to say that that's something that I think we should be really wary of, and when people start shouting racism, I zone out because it's really just creating a divide. Like, I don't know if your listeners or you are aware of what happened in Rwanda, right? We know like the
Yeah.
Hutus yeah. I mean, like the way to stop it is to stop talking about what race it is, right? Everybody's like, stop talking about race. Let's just deal with each other like
It's
as
White House
Americans.
agenda how to stop talking about that. If it's every news, breaking news, every you turn on TV, you can see only the information what everybody in the United States is racist. Yeah,
Yeah, and everything is divided by race, right? Like crime, banking. I mean, like I work in mortgage financing. We have a section that we have to fill out to see if this person is Hispanic, not Hispanic, black or white or green or yellow or purple, whatever it is that they are, right? Whether their marital status is a certain way. I mean, like all of these little divisions of like what gender that person is, and like so on and so forth. It's really really ridiculous, right? Like we are not standing in like unity. Like if we want to talk about unity, there's no divide, there's no like I'm this and you're that. It's like this is us, right? Like our family, our country, this is all together. Anyway, going back to your conversation, your question. So with Stacey Abrams, I went off on a tangent. Took off.
Pence and Donald Trump. Yeah,
So Pence,
and Trump and Purdue. Four
okay, great.
people.
Wow. Okay. Um,
The main question about the Donald Trump endorsement, is it still working or is it not working how Democrats try to show to the Americans?
Surprisingly enough, like I think Donald Trump has a very good hold. He has a very good following, right? And I think he deserves the following because of what he had done as a president. I mean, there are not very many A grade, B grade presidents in our lifetime, really, right? There are a lot of like C and D grade presidents, a lot. And some of them are a fail, right? Like I would say the current administration gets an F in terms of like, policies. 'Cause everything that he touches has gone to, has gone to things that I don't want to say in public. So anyway,
That's true.
um, so like I mean, we could all agree that Ronald Reagan was was an A grade president. We can all agree that like George Washington was an A grade. He gets an A plus, George Washington, right? Um, I would say like Donald Trump is like somewhere in the A minus B plus in terms of what he had created. But I mean, as far as the persona that he's putting on and like him tweeting and the way he talks and things like that, I totally get it that he's not presidential, right? But at the same time, like what he created was he really gave conservatives a voice. I mean, I don't think I would have been able to come out as a Republican. I would probably run for a nonpartisan seat if it wasn't for Donald Trump. And what kind of country with free speech are we living in if we cannot have our full self-expression, right? So I think a lot of conservatives owe that to Donald Trump, and I think he has done a fantastic job for what it's worth, right? He's always put America first. All the things that he called out inside of during his administration that a lot of people found controversial were actually really beneficial, right? I mean, whether he called out like NATO for not paying their fair share, right? Like most people don't even contribute the maximum or up to the maximum amount of their GDP that they should be contributing to NATO. We're protecting Germany while Germany is having a pipeline with Russia, like just stupid things like that. Like all these things that he called out, they're all real. And really, I mean, when he was talking about draining the swamp, like, trust me, I think Americans had their eyes open in that period of time when he was president, whether it was open in a bad way or open in a confronting, intimidating, or threatening way. It was open versus like us like blindly going off and electing the same people into office over and over again and not really like having anything come to fruition. So I mean that's my take on Donald Trump. I like what he did. I have attended his rallies. I think he is a hoot. He's a performer, right? So when he gets on stage, he's like, I mean, doing his YMCA, what is like his
Yes, he's
dance.
like we are, the
I
first
mean,
of
he's
all. Yeah. I
yeah. I
mean,
mean, I
he's.
I I I love the guy and the fact that and how he raised his children is, I think is just amazing, right? I think it had to do with his former wife as well, but the structure that was created in raising their children and the quality of their children is like I think that speaks wonders, right? If you the quality of the parent is what kind of example they set for their children. This is the best gift you can give your children. So I don't know what kind of gift Biden gave to his son, but
Hunter. We
right.
all knows.
Well, we don't
we
know. I mean, like you can fill in
The
the
all
blank of
photos available in internet right now. You can see them.
right. So basically, what I'm saying is like they always say the best gift you can give your children is a good example. And whatever example that had Hunter Biden turn out the way that he did, like you fill in the blank. I'm not here to judge that. But as far as that is concerned, I think it's fantastic. I think he's an American patriot. I admire him for that. Um, Mike Pence. Okay. Actually, I'm going to have to go because I have a promise to be on a call, but
Yeah,
I do
sure.
want to finish up Mike Pence because I think he's a very misunderstood because people think that he should have stopped the electoral vote.
Yes.
January 6th, right? Um, I have learned later that it's actually a formality. There's nothing Mike Pence could have done. It's a formality to confirm the electoral votes. I don't know why it wasn't said, because people are afraid to say like, oh, so it's already done. Like we can't do anything about it. The voting was a formality. Yeah, I mean, it's like it's really practically useless that event, right? If there's nothing he can do. It's just a formality for everyone to accept the votes. So with that said, I think Pence had done beautifully up to that point for most Republicans and most Trump lovers. So so I would say that apart from that, I think I saw Mike Pence support Donald Trump up to the very end, um, with the exception of that confirmation of the electorals. Other than that, like he handled COVID really well. He was working. He was like one of the best cheerleaders. He was supporting behind him. It's a shame that like Trump doesn't see Mike Pence that way anymore. And I think he's a good Republican, and I think that it should be. I mean, it's very much misunderstood. And then of course you have like all these propaganda and all the conspiracy theories about like, oh, because he's part of this and part of that, and whatnot. But I think he's a straight up Christian. He's a hardworking person. My mom loves Mike Pence. Like, she was like, oh my God, he's so supportive. He's so good. Like, she can't stop talking about him. So for me, I think he's one of the better vice presidents, right? And like that's saying a lot, because the current vice president, I don't know. So yeah. So that's it. What's that?
She can laugh in on any situation, but she's not figure out the fixed illegal immigration problems. She never been in a
I think her
South
scriptwriter.
Florida.
I think her scriptwriter quit their job or something, because like together we can resolve issues together, and together we're going to do things together. Like, and together we are,
together,
and
yeah,
together
yeah.
we are together. Yeah. So I don't.
When
I
we're
don't know.
together, it's gonna be together, and together.
Yes, Nick, and until we get together again, we will be together. So, and for now, it's nice being together with you today, and we will see each other together again later.
Thank you so much, Lynn. Thank you. I really appreciate your comment to our show, and waiting for the next time we're gonna talking about
Yes.
Republican situation and election coming up in the state of the Florida. Lynn Su, Florida State Representative. See you
Yes.
soon. Thank you
District
for
106. If you live in Aventura, Sunny Isles, or any way down to Fisher Island, east of Biscayne, like give me a call. Go to my website here. It's worldwideweb.linsu.com. Sign up to volunteer if you'd like to, and if you want to donate, I'd love that too. Don't forget to donate to Two Cats, and they really could use your support to maintain this great channel here. And thank you for the opportunity for me to be here and share with you. If you have any questions for me directly, my phone number is on the website, and you can email me, call me, whatever it is that you want to do. I am here to serve you and the community and the state of Florida. Okay, let's keep Florida free together, and
together.
together we can be together.
We can be together, of course. Thank you, Lynn. Enjoy
You're
your
very
day.
welcome. Thank you. Okay,
Yes.
have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Happy Memorial Weekend.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yes. Happy Memorial Weekend, guys.
Yeah,
It is Monday coming up. Yeah.
That's right. Okay, great. Thank you. Bye-bye.